Today we are going through wild Reddit stories that no one believes. So let's get right to it.
I was done hunting once, and it was at night. I do this solo a lot, solo camping, hunting, have since I was young. I was sitting sipping pine needle tea next to my fire when I heard something walking straight to me. A big black bear waked out of the black forest and came up to the fire and just stared at me for a good 2 to 4 minutes. We looked at each other's eyes the whole time. He didn't turn around, he backed up and just faded into the black forest. Nobody believes that story, but it happened. My friend got a girl, when he was 13 and the girl was 15. They met at the beach in Panama City, Florida. She was rich and lived in Ohio. He was poor and lived in Georgia. My friend never told anyone but me. He is now 28 and has a 15-year-old kid only I know about. The only reason he got away with it is because this girl's family was super rich. The girl never said who the guy was and would sometimes fly down to visit him in secret. I did not believe this story until I saw pictures of his kid. His kid has never met him either, and I do not think he even knows he exists. I always daydreamed that if my friend died, I would have to tell his parents that he actually had a kid, and they had been a grandma and grandpa for 15 years and never knew it.
I was served lunch sometime during a flight. While eating, noticed that the woman next to me is slowing down in her movements, slower cutting, slower chewing, etc. Suddenly she stops completely in her movements, fork and knife in hands, half-cut food on her plate, face bowed forward above her plate and nothing else. Touched her on the shoulder, pushed a little bit, asked her if everything was okay, no reaction. Couldn't really tell if she was still alive. Was it the air conditioning or her breath? No idea. Didn't want to panic and frighten everyone else? You know, dead person. Made eye contact with a stewardess, point towards next to me. Couple minutes later, 5 stewardesses, including co-pilot, form a barrier around our seats and, like in a movie, tried to get a reaction, aka, "Don't you die on me." Woman wakes up, looks up, and says just this one sentence: "I took really strong sleeping pills," and goes back to sleep in the same Tyrannosaurus posture. As if this has happened before, and she had anticipated this conversation, as if she knew that her mind would only be awakened long enough for one sentence. So for the entire remaining 6 to 7 hour flight, there is this lady next to me, mimicking a Tyrannosaurus, her hands still grabbing the now removed fork and knife, drooling on the table. And everyone passing by giving me this questioning look.
When I was 12 years old, I owned a Chihuahua named Taco. We named him this because he looked identical to the famous Taco Bell dog on the commercials, Yo Quiero Taco Bell. Anyways, one day at home, Gulf Coast of Florida, I took Taco out for a little walk so he could go to the bathroom. Well, mind you, Chihuahua's legs are so short that if they run away, you can literally go catch them with no problem. So leashes aren't required. So back to the story, Taco was minding his business, and as the 12-year-old boy I got distracted by a pair of lizards humping on a nearby tree. I noticed a shadow fly by and then heard a little yelp. I switched my focus only to see Taco in the talons of an eagle or hawk flying away into the sunset. I then proceeded to scream, "Taco, no!" But I couldn't do anything about it, so I walked inside and told my mom, and she still doesn't believe me to this day. 8 years later, no one believes me, and I am still missing Taco.
I have many actually, but this one just happened in February. I was stuck in Mexico because of COVID. I know it sounds like a dream, but what lead up to it wasn't at all. I had to go see a doctor downtown, then call Uber for a ride to the mall for groceries. The Uber guy starts driving, then pulls out a second cell phone and does some texting. He then turns to me and says, he's not allowed to drop me off at the store's doors. He has to drop me off in a parking lot a block away. That's the rules. And his supervisor will be watching to make sure he doesn't go to the door. That's obviously bullshit, and I figured something bad was about to happen to me. So I told him I know another driver and was going to ask him. I lied, I don't know anyone. So I texted all the Uber info I had on the driver and his picture, then posted it on FB Jick. By then we were getting close to the mall, so I said to him, my driver friend said what you told me is bullshit and you have to drive me to the door. He just looked at me with a smirk and kept driving, so I told him. He also had me send all your info to him, including your picture, as well as post it on social media. That's when his face fell and he took me right to the doors. I turned him into Uber, they didn't do anything, and my hotel. And when I got back to Canada, I wrote to the Canadian Council about it. They wrote me back and let me know. Because of my experience, they have amended the warnings for visiting Mexico to include a warning about potential kidnappings like I went through.
That's all for today. If you want more, like and subscribe.